In this material, I will show you how to quickly and safely remove and clean the intercooler in your BMW and how to check, without unscrewing a single bolt, whether there is even a need to clean it at all. I will also tell you what you must absolutely never do if you do not want to blow up your engine. Let's get to work. An intercooler flooded with oil causes engine oil to enter the intake, reducing the amount of oxygen in the mixture and worsening combustion conditions. In extreme cases, during hard acceleration, the engine can suck in the oil and lead to engine runaway, which ends in the total destruction of the car. That is why it is worth ensuring it is in good condition. How to check if there is muck inside without unscrewing a single bolt? We will now perform the dancing cap test, which will allow us to assess the situation. On a fully warmed up engine, I unscrew the oil filler cap and place it loosely on top. The cap should be gently sucked in and remain still. If your cap bounces, rotates, or if an oil mist and blow-by gases escape from underneath it, this usually means that your crankcase ventilation valve has stopped doing its job, and instead of a vacuum, there is positive pressure in the crankcase. This situation causes the oil mist to enter the intake and then our intercooler, where the cooled portion flows down its walls, clogging the channels. Additional confirmation of this theory will always be a dirty throttle body. If you see exactly what I see in these two situations, it is time to replace the crankcase ventilation valve to eliminate the cause of the leaking oil, which I will do in a separate video, and clean the intercooler to fix the effects. And that is exactly what I'm going to do right now. First, I unscrew all the bolts of the front support, and then, to avoid messing around with disconnecting the hood release cables, I simply move it to the side. Next, I remove the 5 screws of the plastic radiator fan shroud, and, after taking it out, I set it aside. I unplug the power connector and the controller plug from the fan. Try to do this carefully. The smallest signal wire is quite delicate, and we don't want to break it. I also unclip the intake duct retainer, slide the duct out, and move it to the side to make more room for the fan, which can now be removed while making sure not to damage the aluminum radiator. The fan itself is not bolted down. However, a cooling system water hose may be clipped in at the bottom, which might slightly block its removal at first, but it is very easy to unclip. Under the car, to have free access to the intercooler, I remove the undertray. I unclip the retainer of the intake to the throttle body and pull the duct out of the flange. As you can see, oil is already pouring out from the inside, meaning the diagnosis was spot on. I do exactly the same on the other side. There is a bit less room here, so the pipe might not come out entirely. But that is fine. I will show you what to do next in a moment. With the help of small pliers and a flathead screwdriver, I gently pull out the plastic clip under the intercooler, making sure not to break it. I do exactly the same on the other side where there is an identical lock. I pull out the intake inlet so it doesn't get in the way and slide the entire intercooler forward, focusing especially on the left side, because on the right side, the inlet from the turbocharger is constantly in the way. To avoid creating extra work for yourself, it is best to do this at an angle. I've almost made it too. The entire component will be free in just a moment. Now, for the most important test, it will turn out whether oil is actually trapped inside and whether it was worth removing it. It's pouring out, thick, dirty and smelly, making me wonder how long it has been gathering there. Thank goodness, I'm about to clean this up properly. There is a lot of sticky dirt and congealed oil inside, so it won't be possible without chemical agents. I will show you 2 options. The first one is to use technical gasoline, otherwise known as extraction solvent, and you will need about half a litre of it. It is a very good solvent for the kind of task we are tackling right now. I pour some of the product inside the radiator, plug both ends with a clean cloth so as not to splash everything around, and mix to the right, to the left, up and down, and do this for a good while. The longer, the better. We won't clean everything at once, so after an initial rinse, I pour all this muck into an empty canister. Everything that drains out is very dark, showing that the gasoline worked exactly as it should. After pouring all of this out, I get to work preparing the second rinse. I ran out of gasoline, so now I will use a different product. It's going to be brake cleaner. Just to be clear, it is enough to use only one of them. You don't need to pour both inside. Unlike gasoline, brake cleaner evaporates very quickly, which is why I seal and wrap the ends of the intercooler with tape. Thanks to this, I will be able to give the whole component a good shake. Plus, the liquid won't evaporate so quickly and I won't be inhaling all of it. I shake it for a moment, but before I pour everything out, a small request. If you have made it this far, please leave a like and a subscription. It helps a lot with growing the channel and recording new content. Thank you. After mixing, I pour everything out and repeat the entire process for the third and final time. Look inside. If you decide that 3 times is not enough, continue the process. In my case, I can see that what I'm pouring out is already clear, which means I have dissolved almost all of the old dirt. Now for an absolutely critical step, I would say the most important one. On the side, I am already setting up the compressor, which I will use to blow out all the remaining solvent from inside the intercooler. The liquid and vapors currently inside are extremely flammable. Installing the component in this state will cause them to enter the intake and later the engine. In such a quantity, this is a huge risk of damaging the entire unit, because under no circumstances is it prepared for the release of such a large amount of energy in such a short time. I blow until the inside is completely dry. After blowing everything out, I set the radiator aside for a moment and go back under the car. I thoroughly wipe down the intake duct from the turbocharger side to get rid of as much of the oil trapped inside as possible, and I do the same with the duct that connects the intercooler to the throttle body. I bring back our intercooler from airing out and also remove the excess carbon buildup and dirt that has accumulated on the connection flanges. I place the entire component back into position, trying to do it as gently as possible, keeping in mind the whole time that I have a bit less room on the right side and need to do this at an angle, sliding in between the turbocharger duct. Generally, you shouldn't have any problems putting everything back in its place. I wipe away the excess of what is dripping from the throttle body and connect the duct back into place, snapping the retainer shut. Without any major problems, I can now install the other end of the pipe. Do not forget to plug in the intake air temperature sensor, which is located in the middle of it. After that, I put the retaining clip back into place on the left side and, just as gently, making sure not to break anything, on the right side. At the top, I make myself some room again by moving everything to the side along with the intake duct, and I put the radiator fan back in. Inside, at the very bottom, there is a guide track that you need to line up with so the fan goes all the way in. Then, I plug in the power connectors and the controller plugs, securing the whole assembly with the plastic latch so that nothing moves around during operation. You can easily reassemble all the remaining components without my help. I am just topping up any potential shortage of oil that had previously drained down. And one last interesting thing. I will show you why so much oil was gathering in the intercooler. This is the so-called crankcase ventilation valve, which is responsible for venting the engine. Inside, there is a special diaphragm that regulates the pressure within the crankcase. If this diaphragm is old or cracked, this process does not function properly, and instead of condensing back inside, the oil mist makes its way further into the intake and settles, among other places, in the intercooler. You can see what condition my old valve is in. Everything is sticky and perished, and you can feel with your fingers that it is no longer working properly. In my separate video, you will find out how to replace this component. See you in the next video!